Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I Wrong? And it's by user Satan's Socks. Am I wrong for being upset that my spouse bought the car he wanted? My 31 female husband, 32 male, bought a car today after we specifically had agreed to wait to purchase it. We spoke last night about our finances and how he's currently trying to pay off credit card debt that he accumulated. He mentioned wanting to buy an electric vehicle, and I told him that a car payment would basically give him very little wiggle room once the bills are paid, etc. To top it off, I just took out a $15,000 loan to replace our AC system that needs to be replaced. Like I said, we had talked about it last night. To which he says to me, "You're right, I should wait to pay off my debt before buying a car." I felt relieved and figured that was the end of the conversation. Fast forward to this morning, he tells me he purchased the car he wanted online. I'm shook because what the hell? We just talked about this. He tells me he doesn't feel like waiting and he's making a choice for the family. I called BS. I said I felt extremely disappointed and disregarded. A vehicle purchase is a big deal in my opinion. He said I was wrong for overreacting and now he's more or less ignoring my texts. He says it's not a big deal to buy a car and basically minimized the entire situation. I am quite literally fuming. My mom was kind enough to call me an idiot for not considering a divorce. Am I wrong? Are big purchases like that normal for other couples? I feel nauseous and stuck and I don't know how to come to terms with something like this. To add, this is not the first time I'm disregarded, but it's the first time I'm questioning whether my reaction is not the correct one. OP, you're not overreacting at all. What he did is a huge deal and it's more like you're waking up. This wasn't just a car purchase, it was a breach of trust, a major one. You had a clear agreement, he acknowledged it, then he did the exact opposite without telling you until after. That's not impulsive, it's dismissive. He didn't just disregard your finances, he also disregarded you. And then minimizing your reaction and stonewalling after breaking trust, that's a power move, it's not partnership. So no OP, you're not crazy and you're not overreacting. The question is, how long can you afford to stay unheard? I think the timer on that already went off. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Mutual Butt Squeezin says, he's a selfish ass. That is a huge purchase that should be agreed upon. Making a choice for the family? No, he's being a controlling dick and from the sounds of it, financially irresponsible. If your mom is telling you divorce, well, she would know better than us. And OP responds, thank you so much for your insight, I appreciate it. For a second there, I was questioning my sanity. Dipping My Toes says, you are not wrong. What your husband has done here is commit major financial infidelity and abuse. Your family finances are now massively hampered and compromised by an unnecessary purchase that was only for his pleasure and ego. He very plainly said to you that he doesn't care about your family's financial well-being and that indulging his whim is the most important thing to him. You really need to give these facts some serious consideration for the future because your mom is right. This behavior is typical of an immature spoiled brat who wants what he wants and doesn't give a damn about anybody else. You need to untangle yourself from this jerk immediately because he is quite willing to continue to ignore your thoughts, concerns, and feelings. You would be very wrong to yourself to continue to let him treat you this way. And OP responds, I really appreciate your insight. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the truth. Heartbreaking as it is, I can't shake off the feeling of being disrespected. Amarkezi says, yeah, I would be pissed. I myself am a car enthusiast, and upon reading your title, I was going to agree with the husband because I love cars, but he is wrong for this. Not to mention the price of getting a charger installed at your house and the electric bill increasing. Did you know it takes 8 hours to charge a Tesla battery? Yep, so not only will you have little wiggle room once the car is paid off, you won't have any because of the electric bill you will receive. Hopefully he can return it or trade it for something else. And OP responds, thank you for your reply. I've basically spent the day face palming. I've been trying to calculate everything in my head and I do worry we'll come up short. He says if he has no wiggle room, he won't spend on dumb things. but I think he's completely forgetting emergencies. And Nighttopian says, information request. Does he already have a car? If so, is it old and falling apart and necessary to replace? Was it sold or can be sold to help offset the new car? What's the story behind the $15,000 loan? Did you both discuss this or did you decide by yourself? Was this AC unit absolutely necessary to replace or did you only want to replace it? By that I mean, are summers in your area brutal or just hot? Arizona heat is brutal where an actual AC is necessary, but in New York you can survive with just a $50 room fan. And Opie responds, unfortunately, last summer we had to fix the AC 3 times and it was the 3rd year that it broke down. When we went to turn on the heater in the winter, it didn't work either. We have brutal desert heat, so we had decided to use our tax refund to replace the AC since we had tried time and again to fix it. Obviously, a replacement was more than our tax refund, so I took out a personal loan to cover the rest of the cost. He has a car and he has a truck, but he also has a commute. I told him I completely understood his need to save on gas, but I really wanted him to pay off his credit card debts beforehand. I was under the impression we were on the same page, but apparently not. Additional information from Opie's comments. I think I went into this marriage expecting a partnership, but I was aware that he is in his own person with his own opinions, likes, and a way of being. I don't want to control him, but I don't want to be taken advantage of either. I knew there would be hurdles and difficulties. I don't want to be petty, and that's why my mom is upset with me. I'm a walking bag of insecurities, and I'm just trying to find a clear path. I'm ranting, I apologize, but thank you for giving me something more to consider. I appreciate it. Well, the community agrees that OP is not wrong and that the husband effed up big time and she needs to consider some things. So now let's move on to the update that was 1 year after the original post. Hi everyone, I made a post here a while back and while I wasn't planning on making the update, I stumbled across a post that sort of reminded me of my situation because it was so similar to what I went through. To be honest, since my post a year ago, my life has more or less crumbled. My husband and I have divorced and it was finalized just this past month. Everything feels almost like a blur and I don't think I've really sat down and fully processed everything that happened. Some context that I didn't add to my last post. My ex and I do have 2 children. He did also have a second job at the time. I never wanted him to get a second job. He kept insisting that he didn't make enough. But once he got the second job, his spending also went up. It was a vicious cycle and I was always so worried because his health got worse along with his finances. He worked the day job 5 days a week and the night job 4 nights a week. His work schedule was as follows. Day job was from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and his night job was from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I absolutely hated his work schedule. He was barely ever home. He was always tired and he didn't spend much time with the kids. But his finances were pretty crap and he was drowning himself in debt. This was a point of contention for me because I had already helped him to get out of credit card debt several times before, but he always managed to rack the card back up. At the time he bought the car, I had taken out that $15,000 loan for the AC system and I had told him we had a year to pay it off interest-free. This became, in my opinion, the beginning of the end. He quickly told me that he couldn't help me pay anything towards the AC because his Tesla payment was $1,000 per month. And then it happened. 2 months into having his car, he totaled it. It took months for the insurance to process his claim, but he had to continue making the payments. All the while, I had sent more than a half of what little I had in savings so that I could finish paying off the AC before the year was up. On top of all this, I had taken on the role of supermom. I was beyond exhausted. All of the household chores became my responsibility as well as caring for our children. Thankfully, my parents were a great help to me during this time and would watch my youngest child while I worked during the day. At the time, my youngest wasn't even a year old yet. Eventually, everything started falling apart at the seams. We argued a lot because we were both so exhausted. Our finances were horrific. I remember looking at my bank account and I only had $34 in it. My eldest cried to my mom one day while I was at work and said she was sad that I never played with her because I was always cleaning or cooking or working. She asked my mom if I still loved her because I never spent time with her because I was always so busy. I bawled my eyes out that day when my mom told me. I started to realize that things weren't working. I kept trying to communicate that I needed help, that I was tired, that I couldn't live like this anymore. Eventually, crap hit the fan, and I felt like it was a sign that our marriage was doomed. It was done. I said to him, I'd rather divorce you now while I still love you and respect you than later on down the road when we hate each other and then we damage our kids along the way because we're so angry. After some back and forth, he agreed, and I filed everything myself. I also emptied out whatever savings I had to pay for all the fees. He once had asked to combine our finances, and I made a deal with him that if he paid his credit card off every month for a year, I would happily combine. He never did. I got the half of the AC he was supposed to pay from the taxes we filed. I have since then moved in with my parents, and I rent a room in their house. The divorce was as drama-free as we could possibly make it. We get along pretty well and have decided to keep a civil relationship for our kids. My ex quit his night job and he spends way more time with the kids, and now he's fully realizing just how overwhelming it really is. I don't think he'll ever fully appreciate the amount of work I took on, but I've come to the realization that I can't force him to appreciate anything. He has to grow on his own, and only he can take that journey. One thing that I did find hilarious in this entire situation was that our divorce was finalized on April 1st. When I got the paperwork, I told him, damn, even the legal system thought our marriage was a joke. He didn't laugh though. Lol. I can breathe a little easier, but I can't say with 100% certainty that I have a lot to process and I need to put some serious work on myself as a person. I don't wish ill on my ex. I hope he lives the life he chooses to the fullest. We want different things in our lives and our priorities did not match. Still, I hope he finds happiness. Anyhow, that's my update. Thank you guys for reading. Take care of yourselves out there. Well, OP, you've made the right choice for yourself and for your children, and you're on your path. So here's wishing you strength to keep moving forward, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user DryTangelo7592. Would I be the a-hole for stopping my neighbor from golfing in my yard? I, 24 female, and my husband, 24 male, moved to a new town last December after I got a new job and bought a home. We love our new home, and a major thing about it that we love is the size of the yard. For it being smack dab in the middle of the city and less than 5-minute drive from my work and any other convenience, it is almost an acre and unfenced. For around the neighborhood, this is one of the biggest lots. We did not see a lot of our neighbors outside often since it was winter, but as things have gotten warmer, we have seen them more often outside, including Pete, fake name, 60s, 70s male. Our first encounter was watching him set up his golfing equipment in the easement next to our home and then promptly swinging multiple golf balls that landed in varying places around our yard. When asked what was happening, he introduced himself, explained that he lived in a home on the other side of the easement where he has the yard fenced all but on the side facing us, and said that the previous owner had let him golf in the yard as long as he picked up after himself, as it was, in his words, the best yard in the neighborhood. He also said that he had undergone major surgery in recent years and golf is one of the few things he can still do to be active. Not wanting to rock the boat and make a bad first impression, we simply asked that he please pick everything up if a ball so happened to land in our yard, and that we would keep an eye out for if anything outside was damaged in the future. He said that he would pay for any damages and kept right along. Since then, he not only does not pick up all the golf balls, but we have found some in the flower beds right next to our windows. And we even caught him walking his dog all around our backyard, something we did not agree to. A few days ago, he had some teenagers with him trying to golf, and I could see them kicking up clumps of my yard as they tried to swing. My husband also mowed the lawn and found over 10 golf balls in one go, and about 4 had been launched out of our mower because they were missed in the initial sweep, barely missing his car. We have picked up probably 10 to 20 balls a week since moving in. Thankfully, nothing has been damaged so far, but we are growing tired of it and simply don't feel very comfortable with people who are basically strangers roaming our yard. We also had planned initially to fence as much of it as we could because we would like to get a dog and give it a place to run around without having to stress so much about them getting into the street. However, we have not been very aggressive about our issues to Pete, and I worry about hurting his feelings if we blindside him with putting up a fence. Should we tell him about the fence beforehand or give him a heads up? At the end of the day, he is just an older gentleman trying to play some golf. On the other hand, we had wanted a fence to begin with and want peace of mind about what is happening on our property. I would also like to point out that there are indoor golf simulators nearby and golf courses around. Would I be the a-hole if we just put up a fence without telling him, or even if we have a conversation about how he can't golf in our yard anymore? OP, this is super simple. It's your yard, not a community driving range. You wouldn't be the a-hole for setting boundaries. Put the fence up. And if you feel like giving him a heads up, I don't know, out of consideration, not that he gave you guys any, fine, but I wouldn't do it. Just put up the fence and be done with it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Pixie Ann says, well, first of all, F Pete. That's all that's needed, but I'll continue reading. If the old bastard had a single ounce of courtesy, he would have come over and introduced himself to the new owners of the property before he invaded your space and privacy by playing golf on your land. If he had any courtesy, he would ensure he picked up all golf balls as promised, and he would have asked first to bring extras over. Stop fretting about Pete's feelings, because I can guarantee you that Pete doesn't give a single toss about yours. Go and tell him, starting immediately, there is no more golf playing or walking dogs or accessing your property for any reason at all. He's been taking complete advantage of your kindness, and now you need to end it. He'll probably have some pathetic sob story about why he needs access. Harden your hearts and don't believe him for a minute. He can find somewhere else to play golf and walk the dogs just like everybody else has to, not the a-hole. International Key 512 says, you own the land. You do not need to have a discussion with this man about your property. If there's any tension, he's created it by taking advantage of you and your husband, not the a-hole. Cthulhu Laru says, just tell him he didn't live up to his agreement of picking up after himself, and the offer of using your yard is now rescinded. Any further usage of your land will be considered trespassing. Then get cameras and follow up with the police from there. Not the a-hole. I wonder if he even had an agreement with the previous owner. And Method Maven says, 1. Don't talk to Pete. 2. Have a professional survey done of your property. 3. Hire your contractor and fence your entire yard 1 inch inside your property lines. 4. Put up cameras. If you warn Pete, he will either whine or try to make your lives more difficult. Get the survey done so your fence boundaries are accurate. Put up cameras because not just Pete has used your yard as recreation space, and you may need to make forceful reminders about trespassing law. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and she should either fence up the yard or tell him he's done playing. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So it's been a little while since I came here for advice, and I figured I owed you all that helped an update. We went and talked to Pete and said just about what everyone here wanted us to say. We were done getting our yard trampled on. It was a matter of time before his golf balls damaged something else, and we were not ignorant to him using our yard also as a dog park. His response? Asking if we even remembered his name. We did, which probably took away his retort because he just said that he would stop playing in our yard. We also had security cameras put up around the house outside and told him that we had recorded this conversation, which, where we are from, makes the conversation legal to take to court since we notified him of its existence. We also said that it will tell us if anyone makes their way back to our yard. Overall, I don't think he's too happy with us, but we are too done to care. We were concerned at first to post because we were both taught to respect elders, and we are first-time homeowners in a new town where we don't know a lot of people. We wanted to get along as much as we could, but I suppose Pete will be the exception. Also, for those asking if we were returning the golf balls, of course not. We have a large collection now and will be giving them to the local high school golf team. Also, we have both received generous bonuses from our works the past week, so this fence will be going up even sooner than we anticipated. Thank you all for your insight. Well, OP, problem solved. Probably wasn't expecting that you'd remember his name. Good for you. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.